Hi, you Evolving Now family. I'm Andre Young, and welcome to the Thought of the Week. I hope you've had an amazing week and ready to evolve, and I sure am happy to be here with you today. The topic for this week is called Dark Times in Our 4 Ps. Now, if you've been following me or you Evolving Now, you know what the 4 Ps are. And it's as a person, partner, parent, and professional. When things are great in our 4 Ps, life sure is great. But that's not always promised. We're going to go through dark times in one of those 4 Ps, and very rarely are all of them all bad all the time. But what do we do to make it through the other side in those dark times? And today, that's our topic. So in Thought of the Week form, we have our quote, we have our question, and then I implore you to really think about these questions, but more importantly, live your answer. So first, our quote. Crazy how you gotta wait until it's dark out to see who's really with you. That's hip-hop R&B star Drake said that. And I love that because in our toughest times, we are rarely alone. There's somebody there that we trust. There's somebody there that is helpful. And there's somebody there that is willing. Now, if we disconnect and avoid all of that, that's an us issue. But there's usually somebody there. So I want to leave this question related to that until the end, because I want to share a how. When we're going through those tough times, who do you trust? Who's been there for you? And if we're going through those tough times, maybe as a professional, because I do a lot of work with companies, whether it's executives, employees, doesn't matter where you are. There's some dark times. Maybe there's company change. Maybe you're struggling relationally at work with somebody. Maybe there's things you don't agree with. And even though how right you are, sometimes we have these temper tantrums that makes us cogs. Or maybe we're not saying anything and we're just droning about, hating the job and going through it every day. Maybe we're super successful, but we're super stressed and anxious all at the same time. So what do we do in these dark times? Maybe you're in a relationship and the relationship is not what it once was. The difficulty in it. Maybe it's as a parent. All of these dark times, what are we going to do? The first thing that I'm going to implore us to do is to just live right. See, if you haven't made the decision to leave that job, leave that relationship, then you're choosing to stay. And if we're going to choose to stay, let's be our best selves while we're there. So can we smile? Can we do our craft great? And then can we engage relationally with people in a way that's respectful? You cannot like your job, you cannot like your relationship and still do all of those things. And it's surprising what happens, because if you stay in that job, if you stay in that relationship, all of the bad stuff of us being a cog doesn't come back. There's no blame that could be put on us for being a part of the problem, because we're living solution focused, or at least respectful right now. If we do leave, we always leave on good terms, whether it's that relationship or that job. And we can look back and say, okay, this is what I took from it, this is what I learned, and now this is what I'm bringing. Because God forbid somebody goes back and sees how we've been when we've been unhappy. What does your anger look like? What does your discontent look like? What does your frustration look like when you're at work, at home, as a parent? It's usually not very pretty. So how do we clean that up? 2, the other thing that we can do, we're going to do 1 and 2. 2 is that we can start doing some self-care. If we don't like our job, we're in dark times in our job and our relationship, then what are you going to do for you? And a couple things here. 1 is bookending your day. Let's bookend our day. We are in complete control of what we put in our bodies, in our minds, and in our hearts. So the first thing we do when we wake up, are you filling up with good stuff? And maybe that's you evolving now, watching me. Maybe it's other motivational videos out there. Maybe it's it's exercise, whatever it is that you choose to do, but fill up you with great stuff. So when you get to where you don't want to be, you're not a worse version of you. And we end our day with that as well. So we do those things. What about midday? When you're somewhere during the dark times that you don't want to be, How can you do some self-care at your job? Maybe it's deep breathing, maybe it's taking a walk. I work with employees and teams and athletes to be able to do this while they're at their place of business. Stay inside your policies though and don't become a cop. How about that? Note to self. So we are bookending our day. We did our middle day. And what about these 5 other values here? See, we talked about the 4 P's, but here's some 5 things. When we are in our dark place, intellectually, are we choosing to learn about something? And it could be anything. Maybe you want to learn about rainbows. Maybe you want to learn about animals. Maybe you want to learn about your craft. Maybe we want to learn about something else that gets our mind off of all of our life stuff. Are we learning something? Physically, are we taking care of ourselves and our bodies? Okay? Spiritually, whatever your definition of that is, are we doing something about that? Relationally, because typically it might be a work relationship, it might be our significant others, it might be our kids, but there's other people around you that care about you. And it's not always we're bringing our problems to them, but sometimes it's getting out, getting some relief, and actually coming home better or to work better because we're taking care of some other relationships. And then lastly, our finances. Sometimes it's very difficult to be in a good mood when the money's funny. So how do we take care of that? So I just gave a lot, and let me recap that. So when we're going through those tough times, we want to be able to do our best and be our best at work. Starts with a smile, come in and perfect your craft, be relationally competent with people. During those tough times, too, are you taking care of you? Are you checking those 5 other boxes? Are you bookending your day and taking care of you so when the dark times end, we haven't burned bridges and messed things up? And when the dark times end, if we stay where we stood, we're not to blame for a lot of things that went wrong. We're a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Who do you trust most at work and value most at work? Do they know? How will you let them know today, tomorrow when you go back? Who do you value most in your life that's been there in those hard times and dark times with you? Do something today to pay homage to those people. Whether it's a text, it's a phone call, a card, old school, however you choose to do it. Shed light on what they mean to you. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you like this, you're going to love everything else that I have at youevolvingnow.com. Register for my app. It's free. It's called YEN Push. So Yen Push, allow the notifications and let me live in your pocket. If you are a company, university athletics, or high school, connect with me, and I can't wait to make an impact in your business, in your people, and in your culture. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day and enjoy your evolution.